You know, when you're working on a project like this, uh, you try to be precise about things, but you end up making a lot of assumptions that may not be true. For example, I want to drill a hole in the center of this tab. Well, I measure from side to side, figure out what half is, and I mark it. So that may be the center of this tab, but not necessarily the center of the gas tank. You buy this import crap, and there's no guarantee that this tab is lined up in the center of the tunnel. It could be rotated this way, could be rotated this way, could be in there a little crooked. So, you know, you kind of, you make your assumptions and you take your chances. But anyway, we're going to punch this one, and we're going to drill it. And what I always thought was interesting about these top mount oil tanks like this is you got to do it from the bottom because you can't get it drilling from the top. Same thing on the back. I've made some measurements. I marked it. Maybe this little tab was welded to the center of the tank. Maybe it wasn't. It could be off quite a bit. But anyway, that is one of the reasons that these holes will be oversized. You want the tank square to the top frame tube. And I'm going to make the holes a little bigger than they need to be so that I could, fudge this a little bit if I have to. Alright, that'll work. Okay, this is the top head bushing I make for screwing the fuel tank down into. I suppose you could just thread that, tube on top, but it's not going to be very secure. And you'll notice the top of this is arched, and it's arched to match the curve of the mounting tab. And I do that so that when it's sitting on the frame, it resists the oil tank's tendency to rock on one single pivot point. I turn this out of a chunk of steel on the lathe, and to get the curve in it, I may show you real quick. I didn't do it because it's hot out and it's on the dirty shop. This is how I put the curve on here and get it to match the curve on the tunnel of the gas tank. I just clamp it up in a small V-block, turn the big disc sander on, and just work it back and forth like that until it matches. And you can see just by eye and by hand, I got it to match here damn near perfectly. So, it'll be, well, it won't be flat because it's a curved thing, but, when it's screwed down, the oil tank will be secure up against this and it won't rock on the top frame post. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Over the years, I've welded up this kind of mounting arrangement several times, and I had an idea for doing this one because it's hard to get the bung, perpendicular and square and centered on a frame and all that. Okay, for the front one, I just transferred, put the gas tank on here, transferred the hole, drilled it. I did not make a top hat bushing for this one. I'm going to use the casting to match the curve on the tab and the tank tunnel. And then I got a bolt in there and a bolt in the rear one, and I just, eyeball the two bolts, make sure they're lined up. And we're going to give this one a quick tack. Good deal. Plenty of clearance with the handlebars, thanks to the new fork stops. Good deal. I like it. So far, no zip ties used anywhere. Looking good. Every one of these seats like this comes with the bracket that doesn't really fucking fit anything that I could tell. I've never had one of these seats where the bracket actually lined up with something on the frame. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, the seat strap over here is too big for this frame. You can see they bent it, the edges. We're going to cut it off, re-weld it. I think this is stainless, and I think it's stainless just because it isn't rusty. So we're going to weld that up. We're going to make a new bracket back here and somehow weld it to the bike. And the other thing that gets me about these things is they put the fucking nut in between the... How in the fuck are you supposed to even get to that? Jesus fucking Christ, what a pain in the balls. I might have another wrench that's been grounded down to real thin. But okay, let's say get this nut off. And I will get it off. How do you put it back on? How do they do this? I just don't get it. But anyway, that's another problem for reassembly, not disassembly. So we'll figure that out a little bit later. Piece of crap. Giant pain in the balls. That was brutal. Well, not really. See, here's the good part though. You got your nut in there. If the nut falls off while you're riding along, it's not going to get lost. It's going to stay caged up there. Anyway, we'll get this off. We're going to weld this first, then we'll fit it on the bike and try to get something arranged. Alright, so I re-welded the ears on the seat brackets so they fit nicely in between the fixture on the frame. This is too high. The front end of the seat needs to come down and the ass end of the seat needs to come up. Alright, so here it is. This has been lowered, I don't know, about a half, 3/4 of an inch maybe. Alright, here is yet the third iteration. That's as low as I can make it go. And I think that's what we're going to end up with right there. Well, I might be able to make it go lower. But no, I can't. That's as low as it could go. So anyway, here's the seat. The front of it is mounted. I got it as low as I could get it to be. I think it looks okay. The next thing we got to do is figure out something to mount the springs on. And this is what I'm thinking about doing. I've got a piece of angle iron right here, and I'm going to cut it off so that it is just as wide as the hardtail. So we're going to lop it off in this area here. It'll be no wider than the hardtail because I'm going to weld it to the hardtail. It's hitting, of course, the fender bracket. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a semicircle out of this thing and put a little arch to it. And then what I'm going to probably do is I'm going to probably shorten the legs of the arch because I want to drop the back of this thing down so that it's parallel to the ground and will provide a level platform for the springs to sit on. So I'm going to make some measurements and do some cutting, and we'll see how this works out. I'm optimistic. Alright, this falls in that realm of don't tell my wife. I need an arch. It needs to be contacting these 2 points here and this point in the center. And it just so happens the kitchen plate is exactly the right size. Not bad. Close. Close. Can't get all my hands in here. Okay, my original plan was to chop this leg off right here. And that would lower this thing and get it down in this area. Except that if I do that, I'm not going to be able to get my bolts in for the fender. What a tangled web we weave, huh? I'm thinking I might get a triangle of metal, fill in this area here. I think that's what I'm going to do. So this is the idea. This will sit up in there. This will get welded to the hardtail, and it should put our seat at the right angle. Okay, here's the little perch base, whatever you want to call it, I made for the seat. This is where it goes on the bike, and that's how it interfaces with the seat. Pretty nice, I like it. I think that'll work. Perfect. It should work. Alright, let's see how I make out here. This alone might be worth the price of admission. Shovel chisel, this one is 3/8 by 7/16 in between the bottom coil. There we go, that should work. Then you put your bar across. Then you put your screw in. Then you put your washer on. Then you grab your nut. And I'm using thin nuts, so this will be easier to get them in. Hold it with some forceps or needle nose, whatever you got laying around, and then you can get it started. And then find the skinniest, there it is, 1/2" wrench you got laying around, and away you go. Piece of cake. Once you got the screw started, you can take your wrench out of there, tighten it up the rest of the way. Yeah, it'll be a little tight on the coil, but you can manage. I already got the other one in. And that's that. This bar takes the place of this bar. This should never have to come off the seat again, and there's just going to be one screw nut and a bolt holding it on in the middle. That'll be easy to get to without having to fight with these springs. Anyway, my contribution to mankind today. Well, by my reckoning, I've got 2 things left that I want to do before I take the engine out and break the frame the rest of the way down. One is drill a hole right here for the seat strap, and the other thing is I want to weld the bracket on the side over here for the exhaust pipe. So let's drill this hole first. And that takes care of that. Alright, so that's the seat installation complete. Bolted down. Very happy with that. Looks good, nice and sturdy. That's not going anywhere. Very happy with that. And the last thing I need to do before I tear this frame apart is to weld the strap on the frame right about here to intersect with this clamp. Maybe not that clamp, but another one like it. So that's the last thing I'm going to do to this frame before I call it good to take the engine out and take the rest of it apart. Anyway, I am out of here. Going to pull the engine out later on. For right now, I'm taking a break. We'll get the engine next time.